Good afternoon. I would like to extend a warm welcome to everyone attending today. My name is Julianne. I'm a Senior Account Manager at Just IT, and I will be hosting the webinar. Along with me, Nina, one of our senior resources, will be available to answer questions in the chat, and Leah, our marketing executive, will also be on hand. For those of you that are not familiar with Just IT, as a company, we are passionate about learning and provide digital marketing apprenticeship training alongside other apprenticeship and commercial training. This week is our Women in Tech Week. Given that women are underrepresented in the technology sector, we are hosting daily webinars over the next 5 days to inspire women to consider a career in IT. Today, we are exploring the world of digital marketing, and the purpose of the webinar today is to inspire you to think about digital marketing as a career route forward and to post questions to women who are already successfully working in this field. Some of you on the call today will be school leavers looking at your first career steps. Some of you are potential career changers. We aim to make this webinar of interest to you all. The format will include an opportunity to meet our expert panellists working in the field of digital marketing. We will explore apprenticeships and we will speak with a digital marketing apprentice. There will be time throughout for you to ask your questions. So if you have a question at any time during the webinar, please put them in the chat box provided. If we cannot answer them during the session, we will send out answers along with the recording. And just for your information, all attendees today are on mute. Let me introduce you to the panel. First up, we have Dawn-Louise. Dawn-Louise owns a successful agency, SM2 Communicate. She is also a lecturer at the University of Hertfordshire. Next, we have Alex Stevens, who has worked her way up to Digital Marketing Manager at Iocea E-commerce Solutions, a full-service digital agency. And I'll explain more about full service later on. We have Gemma, Swindlehurst, a digital marketing trainer here at Just IT. And later in the session, I will introduce you to Kerr, who successfully completed a digital marketing apprenticeship and has recently moved on to her career at the ICAEW as an e-communication executive. So get your questions into the chat for our panel to answer throughout the hour. Right, over to our panel. Dawn-Louise, what is digital marketing and how did you come to own your own digital marketing company?
Oh, thank you. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the conversation today. It's nice to be here. So my digital marketing journey is probably similar to what you guys on this call are looking at yourselves. I left school when I was 16, and back then in the day it was called YTS, not apprentices, but I did my apprenticeship route in sports retail, actually customer service, and then from there I went on to do various different retail roles into management. Wanted my weekends back, if I'm honest, so I flipped into another industry, which was banking. I'm a creative, that didn't really suit me that well. So I went from banking into IT, and it was in IT in a big corporate company that I really learnt my skills in marketing, because I had lots of different opportunities and I had lots of different roles that were open to me as well. That was about 10 years in marketing in the IT company there, and did various different roles, from looking at how IT could help people who had disabilities in some way, how their computers could do their jobs for them, all the way through to kind of account management type of roles and more. And then I went through a redundancy from the corporate company and had some great advice with, actually, if you're in a digital mindset, you could start your own company with the redundancy money that I was given. So that's what I did, and I am now an agency owner. So I went from working for somebody, a big corporate company, having just one client to talk to each time. Now, as an agency, we have lots of different clients and we do lots of different digital marketing and growth techniques. Anything from designing a digital marketing strategy to delivering that strategy for people, building websites, email marketing campaigns, working with different technologies, you name it. If it's digital and it helps a business to grow, we do that as well. And I'm 10 years old this year. So So I've diversified my own skills and I've learned along the way. When I first started my agency, I didn't really have the marketing qualifications as such. I had my apprenticeship customer service. So in order to get the bigger contracts, I came up with an idea to host and buy a Twitter hour. This is still active on a Monday. It's Monday lunchtime at 12 o'clock. So one of my team are doing this right now. It's Hearts Hour, hashtag Hearts Hour, all one word, Hearts as in Hertfordshire. And it's basically bringing local businesses together using the hashtag to have conversations, to find other business services and other business people to connect with from Twitter to help them grow their business. And I grew that channel from just short of 2,000 followers all the way up to it's now at 11,000 followers and growing strong week on week. So I had that experience of growing that I could then use to help me obtain some more clients, bigger contracts in whilst I was learning at night school to get my own qualifications as well. So a bit of a different journey to the norm kind of route.
And thanks, Dawn-Louise, for that. And anyone interested in finding a little more about Dawn-Louise, we are putting her links into the chat so you can see her LinkedIn and her website accounts. Going on to Alex, can you tell us about your journey into the world of digital marketing?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Yes, so I'm Alex, and I am currently a digital marketing manager at Iocea. But actually, to lead me into that role, I started out at university. So I did go to university to study. I did a fashion course, like fashion and communication promotion, which just touched on lots of different areas of marketing and communication. So it did help me in getting my position, like my role, I'd say. But after university, I worked my way into a content and merchandising coordinator role for a jewellery company. So I was doing lots of copywriting and content writing. So it was very much specialising in a certain area. Which I think we touched on previously when we had our discussion, Julie, but basically how that's specialising one area, which you can do and go down that route if you're sort of more interested in social media, SEO, PPC, that kind of thing. Whereas now the role that I've sort of progressed into is working for an agency. I started out as a digital marketing executive, branched out into senior role now, a digital marketing manager, managing a team of 3 people. So in that role, I do manage a team, but I also do everything from SEO, PPC, social media. So it's very much touching on different areas of digital marketing, marketing for clients. So, maybe marketing, be doing every day is so different. One day you'll be doing marketing for, a clothing brand. The next day it could be somebody who sells padlocks. So it's very different in the terms of what you do cover. But it means you can, every day is different. It's very challenging each day. You can work on different things. But then there might be someone who does, really into social media. That's where their area of skills lies. And they can go down that route. Same with like SEO and PPC. So you can sort of, depending on, where company you go for, and you can tailor it to sort of your skills and what you enjoy more as well. So I do quite like personally myself work on different areas and getting to work with different clients. So it is nice working the agency side, but you may choose to go down the route of working in-house for sort of a specific company. So it could be like my previous role, I worked for a jewellery company, that was for one client, we were working in-house for them, whereas now I sort of cover everything and working with those different sectors. So it's really, really down to you what you sort of want to go, what route you want to go down, and depends on your employer. They can even like tailor the role for you if it was all about the kind of workplace you go for as well. So say if I did want to go to my boss and say, look, I do want to specialise more in this area, he would be open to that, because it's good to have but then it is nice to have, if any other team members are off, you can cover anything that might be missing, if you are expert in all the specific areas. And yeah, that's me. And I think with with my role, I've progressed sort of into 3, I think it's, just over 3 years, I've progressed into 3 different roles. So, it can be quicker getting into new positions. It can be slower. It just really depends. And it's one of those roles where you're constantly updating your experience, you're constantly getting skills. Every day you're learning new things. So it's really good in that sense. But as a whole, like the actual agency I work for, we do everything. So full end-to-end solutions. So it's building websites, software development, digital marketing, web design, everything to get your business online, really. And obviously my area is covering digital marketing and, you know, marketing our clients to make sure they have sort of every success online, really.
Thank you so much for that, Alex. That's really, really helpful. And in particular, I picked up on the fact that you were mentioning terminology like SEO and pay-per-click, and it would be really good to come back to you in a minute and just explore some of those terms with you, because I know there's such a wide variety of roles within digital marketing and skill sets. So if we can just jump back to that shortly. Firstly, I'd like to go to Gemma and talk us through, did you go through a traditional university route for your journey, Gemma?
Hi, so hi everyone. No, I didn't. I was a little bit like Dawn-Louise in the sense that I was an apprentice. I was actually an apprentice hairdresser when I left school, so totally different, random. I'm very much interested as a trainer now in transferable skills, and I've mentioned it quite a few times to Julianne. But transferable skills from hairdressing into digital marketing sounds crazy, but essentially being able to speak to people, communicate with clients, all the skills you learn throughout different things that you do really help with digital marketing. But I moved from being a hairdresser, wanting my weekends back, to then going into more of a recruitment role. And in the recruitment role, we were predominantly advertising roles for job roles on social media. So we use a lot of Twitter, and I was getting exposed to a lot of social media because this was up and coming. This is a long time ago, long time. I think MySpace was the main thing that was happening then rather than Facebook. So many years back. And then I moved from there to the NHS, where I was raising awareness to the cancer network. So that was a different step, but the transferable skills allowed me to learn about social media and how to sort of utilize it for exposing different information and raising awareness. So it really intrigued me how we could sort of utilize social media for many different things. And then I've become a coach 15 years ago, and pretty much developed from social media to digital marketing, utilizing IT, website development. So there's many different things. And like Alex was saying about SEO, which is search engine optimization, within an apprenticeship, I teach so many bits to make everything transferable. So whether or not you're in a role now as a hairdresser, for example, and promoting the hairdressers, with learning things, you know, the more you learn, the more transferable skills you've got. It can go into the, like I say, like the NHS, and start raising awareness for them, because you have an idea and understanding of digital marketing as a whole, and that's like a really good thing that we do. So yeah, that's my experience.
Thank you, Gemma. And we'll be coming back to Gemma shortly, because she's going to take us through the apprenticeship program in a little bit more detail, so that you can see some of the qualifications that you study if you wanted to undertake a digital marketing apprenticeship. But just flicking back to Alex on that SEO and pay-per-click, that PPC, that you often hear these terms mentioned. Alex, can you tell us a little bit more about the type of roles that individuals could get involved with if they're hearing SEO and thinking, that really sounds fascinating, what's all that about? And what do I need? Do I need to be a techie? Or if I'm really good at English, is that something that I could do, with a little bit of training?
Yeah, so I was just going to mention, actually, there is a really good course online that's actually free, and I was going to advise people to sort of have a look at it and get involved in it. It's called, it used to be called Google Digital Garage, but it's actually now called Fundamentals of Digital Marketing. I mean, people are probably familiar with this, but it just gives you a bit of insight into different areas of marketing and, just the basics of digital marketing. So it is a good stepping point. You might be able to sort of get a bit of experience, and there is a certificate at the end. So this is something good that people can add to their LinkedIn profiles and to really, maximize that as well. So I thought, and that could also, see what you enjoy and, get to grips with a bit of understanding of everything. But just in terms of each sort of area, I guess things like social media is quite self-explanatory. People are quite into, creating content and posting. Also, Facebook ads can come into that. So that is another area of pay-per-click marketing, Facebook ads. So, you probably see it on your Facebook when you scroll through all these promoted ads that you get shown and how people can target you and things like that. But yeah, social media, that's the one way, if you want to be quite creative, create content, bit of copywriting, I guess, with different captions you need to post and things like that. But that kind of role, you might be covered, titles could be like a social media executive or like a social media manager, that kind of thing. That's kind of role to be looking for if you are interested in that kind of area. But in terms of SEO, you might be like in the same sort of titles, but like SEO executive, SEO manager, that kind of thing. Obviously, as Gemma said, that search engine optimization, you kind of have to have sort of a good, good skills in copywriting, because you are writing content that is user friendly, but then you've also got to optimize it for search engines. So it's about, doing your keyword research and, getting on board with all that, and also tying it in with copywriting. So it's a good balance of copywriting, and there is some technical parts of SEO as well, but a lot of the time you'll be doing sort of, if you work for an agency like myself that does have web developers, you'll advise what needs to be done, but they're the ones who will actually do some of it. So there might be some like page speed work that needs to be done on a website, which helps with SEO, but you'd actually advise that, this needs to be done, but you wouldn't be the one actually doing it because it requires some technical knowledge to actually make those optimizations. So SEO is probably the trickier one to sort of get your teeth into, but once you sort of build your skills, it does make a bit more sense how everything pieces together. And then the other one is pay-per-click marketing. So you might be sort of a PPC executive or a PPC manager, and you sort of create, it's a bit like Facebook ads. And when you search for things on Google, you'll see like a sponsored ad come up, promoting, and you'll bid on keywords. So it's a paid form of advertising. And that covers areas. It can be Google ads, Bing ads, all sorts. So there's lots of involved in that. But that's another area. There is some Google ads training you can do as well, and I'm pretty sure that's free as well. But it's one of those things. If you are working for a company, they'll often get you on board with training. The training will be included in your role as you come on board. So it's not something, it sounds scary, but a lot of the time your employer will say, I'm going to get you on board with this training to begin with. To build your experience. So I've done all that training. I came into my role at Iocea I didn't have any knowledge on sort of, not really much on SEO, more like the copywriting side. But then Google Ads as well, I had no idea about that. So it was just about training really. And they, it's about, employer will support you on all of those kind of things.
You mentioned about copywriting being a skill for an SEO role. In terms of pay-per-click, PPC, what would you say is a skill that somebody would need if they're really thinking about that? Is there one particular skill that you say that they need to come in with?
Yeah, I mean, there is elements of copywriting in that, because you've got to actually create your ads and write the copy and things like that. But there is, with Google Ads, there is more automation coming into it as updates happen and things like that. So they do give you some suggestions to what to add into the ads, but sometimes they're not so relevant. So it's, you do have to have some knowledge of, what brand you're promoting, a bit of brand awareness about what that brand covers, but then also some copywriting skills as well, I'd say so. And then just, I guess, the Google Ads training and you getting experience in that helps as well. And there's also things like Google Shopping as well. It's really understanding Google Ads as a whole and how it works. I think a lot of that comes with the training. And it's one of those things that you just get better at as you go along, really.
And we've just popped that link into the chat for the Google Digital Garage, the one that you recommended. So we will try and find other links that are available as well, just to help people if they're looking at the SEO or the pay-per-click journey. Dawn-Louise, on your website and your LinkedIn profile, you mentioned the word HubSpot quite a bit, and you also mentioned the words WordPress. Can you just unwrap those particular technologies, please, and explain a little bit more about them?
Yeah, so in digital marketing, if you don't have a suite of or knowledge of technologies, you're going to come across it every day in your working life, from using Outlook for your email or Gmail to coming along to the bigger technologies. So within marketing, most companies have something called a CRM. A CRM is your customer relationship management database. In some of the small companies, they might start with a simple Excel spreadsheet, going all the way through to a database that can be shared between people, a fully CRM database, which has information about the email addresses of your customers, when they bought something from you, all the way through to, from a digital marketing perspective, what blogs they're reading on your website, what emails they're opening, how long are they spending on your websites, and what is their digital journey. And it really helps you as a digital marketeer to pull all of your digital marketing tactics together to help create a really good user digital journey for your customers. And if they've got a great journey with you, it's easy to find information on your website, it's easy to buy something from your store, you can really start to enhance that experience and really get to know your customer personas like the back of your hand. And you can then build and help your company to grow. If they're growing, you get more revenue ultimately means hopefully you can stay there a bit longer, get bonuses, pay rises, etc. So that's what we're here to do as marketeers, is to help the sales team sell the products and services that your business do, but do it in a way that helps your audience or your customers to feel a connection with you in whatever tactic that is. So HubSpot is it starts with a CRM, but you can have your website in there, you can do your email marketing, you can do your social media, you can track your sales, you can have an operational side in there, you can have service in there, ticketing, surveys. It's kind of an all-in-one encompassing platform, has lots of different free training on it, and it just brings everything together for you. And then WordPress is one of the most commonly used websites in the UK. And it's quite an easy sort of out of the box. If you're just starting up, I think that's where a lot of the WordPress people start. And that's where you can host your website. But HubSpot is a technology, also links into lots of different other applications like WordPress. You can still see if you have a WordPress site, the data will still come into HubSpot. And if you have a different email marketing platform, that data can still come into HubSpot too as well. So HubSpot's really for the companies that have been established for kind of 5 years plus, and they're growing and they have some money to invest in their infrastructure. There are other ones out there as well, other CRM databases like ActiveCampaign, Salesforce. I can list them all off for you. But HubSpot is our one of choice.
And we've got a question that's just come in for you, Dawn-Louise. How many clients do you manage at your agency? It sounds really exciting to work with multiple brands. Can you just expand on that a little bit with the brands that you work with?
Yeah, so I have more than me at my agency, otherwise I couldn't, a bit like what Alex was saying before, you can't do everything yourself, and we work across different sectors. So we're in the law industry, we're in construction, we're in health and wellness, we're in quite a few different areas. And the way I like it as an agency is because I have different clients. So I have to get to know that client. I'm kind of account managing them, if you like, and we move people around in the agency. So the apprentices come on and kind of do the social media for 1 or 2 clients to start with. Then as they get to know them and they get to understand like the social media side of things, we then move them on to more digital marketing aspects, which might involve the social media campaign linking to an email campaign that all sits within HubSpot that they have to create a landing page for. And it basically, you start to learn more about the digital customer journey of an agency. So if you like juggling lots and that doesn't stress you out too much, then working for an agency might be the right option for you. Working for a corporate company or in-house, which is what Alex said before, you generally have one end client, and once you've learnt the processes and the procedures and how they do things, kind of becomes very repetitive. Whereas in an agency, your clients are constantly coming on, they're evolving their strategy because you're helping them to evolve their digital story. So you have lots of creative things to do, and they come to you as an agency because you have the skills and the ideas. So we build in lots of part of our values as an agency. We have daily pep calls, because our values are everybody who joins us, they're passionate, we empower them, and they're positive about what they do for us. So we have these daily pep calls, the acronyms of our values, and we discuss the workload for the day. We also have a bit of a gossip as well, because we need to catch up as well virtually. My team is based around the UK. We're not all in the same office, so the pandemic for us actually kind of sped up the move to going more remote. We do get together and have team days. That's much more important now. But as an agency, our infrastructure is set up to be very digital, and you need to have a good baseline skills of digital and not be afraid to try new digital technologies as well, because we're often at the forefront of trying new things in beta. And particularly with HubSpot, we get to use those functionalities. So because we have lots of different customers of different sizes as well. So I love agency.
I picked up on the word remote, and I was going to ask you and maybe Gemma as well on this front. Do you think that there's an opportunity now, in terms of balancing career, balancing children, etc., with a digital marketing role, because it's online and also from a remote perspective? How have you done that, Dawn-Louise, with balancing your family life through?
Yeah, so obviously I've had a few years experience in going to work in an office and then starting my family. And for me, it takes a bit of time to go, if you're leaving school, if I'd have gone from leaving school straight into a remote working job, I'm not sure I would be as disciplined as I was now. I needed kind of that face-to-face interaction when I first started my career to have somebody kind of holding my hand going, no, this is how you do this, this is how you do that. But now I'm a bit more into my career. I think that work-life balance and being able to work remotely has actually meant that I can be online in my, as long as I have deadlines to achieve as an agency and I have deliverables, they have to be met. Even if that takes me till 11 o'clock at night, if I've been a bit rubbish with my timekeeping, I have to deliver that for my clients. And my team have the same ethos. If they need to go and have doctor's appointments, dentists, if they need to go and see their child at sports day, that time is built in. They know the end date of deliverables, they know the time, and that has to be delivered. That cannot be moved. So if it means they have to miss or they have to move their dentist appointment in order to achieve that client deadline, that's fine. But it's a two-way street. If we can build in the flexibility that gives them that work-life balance, then we absolutely will. And that was part of, we're also a disability confident employer as well. So that's a government scheme. And that means if we have anybody who has different autoimmune conditions, particularly that we've seen lots of this in the pandemic, they needed to work from home anyway, because that helped them manage their condition. So our infrastructure is set up in order to do that. We have different home working contracts, different ways of working, but key to it is making sure we check in every day with that. And we have quite a robust onboarding system and a recruitment system actually that they have to go through in order to make sure they're the right fit for us as a company, because we are very different to the normal. You've got to clock in, clock out. And we also are very different to other agencies that are out there and how they choose to work and grow as well. So a lot of them want you to go into an office to have that support, whereas we're a bit more flexible in that. There's lots of choice, and that's why people move careers, I think. It's because you want to find somebody that inspires you and connects with you and can help you live the life that you want to live.
Thank you so much for that, Dawn-Louise. And Gemma, do you want to just add to that? Because I know you found that flexibility really of value with the hairdressing SEO you've been working on.
Yeah, so for me, I find that you kind of never leave digital marketing once you're in. So once you understand social media and once you understand how to support a business, how a little bit of research, these skills of like learning how to understand an organization, what's the competition, what are they doing? And my always been my philosophy and always been what I stand by is the way to make it work is to do what your competition are doing, but just do it better. So understanding what they do and making sure your content is just that little bit better. You're reaching just a little bit more. You're doing a little bit more. And having that mentality all the time. I currently work myself on different projects. So I went to have my feet done for a holiday years ago and automatically got in conversation and was like, oh, do you have a social media account? Who manages that? And they were like, oh, we actually don't know it and we don't do it. And I was like, well, I could always, offer some advice and support you with this. You'll find so many small businesses, and I do it for hairdressers at the moment, and learning the skills of, and I used to be a hairdresser, so this is not in any way being bad about hairdressers because I was one, but you have to understand how to talk to people who are not as necessarily tech savvy. And that's a real skill within client relationships. So like we've said about PPC, SEO, all these things that I say, I could never explain to the manager of the hairdressing salon. My main focus is to try and get her to take pictures that are okay for me to edit. And that's good. And she sends me this, and I do this in my own time. So the exposure that you get within the digital marketing industry does allow people to do their own work, to support local businesses. It might be your auntie who has a cleaning business that she pops a bit on social media but doesn't understand it. Well, if you do, like Alex was saying about some of the free courses, and Dawn-Louise is saying about HubSpot, they do courses as well. There's so many courses out there that could allow you to dip your toe into digital marketing, get certificates to support your CV, and then offer your services to local businesses, or, you know, people you've seen on social media that, you know, we've all done it, where we've seen social media posts and thought, oh, that looks a bit messy. You know, there's nothing stopping you saying, look, you know, I'm more than happy to sort of work and gain some experience and use that work experience on your CV going forward for jobs as well. So, you know, you don't necessarily have to have the experience in digital marketing in order to get a job in it. But just having an understanding really does help you step forward within your CV and a job interview by saying, look, I've done these courses, I'm helping this small business out. You know, all these different things really do support and help.
And I think that leads nicely on to Alex's question in the chat, saying that if you were to hire somebody, would you require years of experience, or do you think online course or certificate would be enough? And just before I go to Alex on that one, Alex as in on the panel, Alex, so I know there are two Alexes here. I personally, from my career perspective, I've always found that I've had to keep in touch with digital marketing, even though I'm not in a digital marketing role now. I volunteer on a triathlon website, so I'm a member of a triathlon club, and I volunteer on the website, so I keep my hands on from a content, from a technical perspective, and that just keeps my CV ticking over really nicely from in touch with technologists. So I wondered, Alex, what's your thoughts on the question of whether an online course is enough, or whether some volunteering or something else just gives you that added bonus?
Yeah, so I think if you can volunteer and get involved in stuff as much as possible, I definitely advise that, just to see if there's any, you know, some people might do like help with they do work for a charity or something, and then they'll, you know, charities always need that help for, you know, social media, or might be some other areas of marketing as well, the SEO. Just, you know, if you get your online courses sorted, see what's out there, you know, the ones I've mentioned as well, there's plenty of others probably out there as well, free courses. Get your CV updated with all that experience, and get your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn's a great place to look at and, you know, add all your experience to there, and add all the certificates you've got involved with. Then you can also add in, obviously, if you know, volunteer and help out at, you know, if there was a charity or another sort of company, I'd definitely try and get involved where you can, because, you know, the more experience you have, the better. And it's not about the years of experience you've got, it's about, you know, you showing your initiative, and you're a proactive individual. That's going to stand out to an employer if they can see you are being proactive and, you know, building your experience where you can. It's not always, you know, if someone's got 10 years of experience, it does look good, and, you know, they might have 10 years of experience in digital marketing, but, you know, I'm like, you know, given you people's ages, and, you know, we're all still quite young on this call, you know, just where you can just build your experience up, volunteer, get the online courses sorted, and always look for new opportunities where you could potentially, you know, is there a new online course you can do just to keep your skills fresh, and things like that. I'd definitely recommend.
And if anyone is looking for some courses to do, what we can do is we'll send some in the chat later on, or we'll send it out by email, just some example courses that are available to really upskill them. And we've had another question in from Alice. Is a freelance role something that you'd recommend later in a digital marketing career, or can you start with it? I'm thinking maybe Dawn-Louise, do you want to answer this one?
So I think a lot about being in digital marketing or marketing roles as a whole is to be a freelancer means you're kind of almost running your own pay. You're going to be paying yourself. You're going to be looking after that. So whilst you might be really good at doing the marketing side of things and the tactics, if you haven't got any experience of making sure you're submitting your PAYE to HMRC on time, and kind of the administration side of running a little bit about yourself as a business, that could be an element that you might need to get some support on from, say, a business coach. So to do the marketing side of it, you would probably, if you are tech savvy and you have confidence in yourself and your abilities, and you know you can help people, because that's what we're all here to do. We're here to bring value to our customers, to help them to grow. So if you feel comfortable and confident enough to do that, then there is no age limit on when you can become a freelancer. The only thing to consider is around the admin side of how you do that. It's like starting your own business as well. People often go in as a freelancer themselves. Certainly that's how I started my business. My business is SM2 Communicate. SM stands for social media to communicate. I have learned over the years that I can't just do social media. I need to do the whole marketing, because that's what my customers are doing. And in order for me to grow and take on people and do more to help and serve people and add value, I need to know more of the elements and to bring them all under one place. So I don't think necessarily there's years of experience, but just to be aware of that side as well.
And hopefully that's answered Tolo's question as well, because that was also one of the possibilities of freelance working in the sector. Are there lots of opportunities at the moment in freelance working, Alex, would you say, just looking out there from a career perspective?
So in freelance roles, is there much out there? I think with freelance, it's one of those where you've sort of got to use your own initiative to really take that forward and do it yourself. It's not a case of, freelance is something where you'd have to build it up yourself, I think, more than, going and looking online, is there a freelance role? Because it's like Dawn was sort of saying, it is sort of almost like building your own business, really. You've got to sort of, use your initiative to sort of find your clients yourself. You might already have a good relationship with, people start to build a relationship, especially if you're on LinkedIn, quite active on there. You can start to build a relationship. There might be someone, I often see it on LinkedIn. People might say, I'm looking to work with someone in digital, I'm looking for a new digital marketing. And sometimes people don't want to go down the agency route. They like that freelance one-on-one sort of relationship. So you might often see posts on LinkedIn where people are looking for, and LinkedIn is the place where people would go to find someone to do like freelance digital marketing work for them. So as I said before, LinkedIn is really the place to be and build up your experience, what you've got, and add your profile. And so it's really a case of, like I say, use your initiative to actually build that up, and it is sort of your own sort of business, freelance, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. LinkedIn is so key. If you are a freelancer or in marketing generally, you need to show people and demonstrate that you can talk on all these different channels as yourself as well, and deliver that kind of response and engagement and get people talking to you that aren't just your friends. And I think the other word of caution I would put about becoming a freelance is, you're always looking for what your next contract is, because you are given a project. It is not necessarily regular money, unless you get a big contract over a period of months or years, but you are always, your contracts will at some point come to an end. So you need to be thinking kind of 3 months out of that to then look for the next contract. How are you building that? It's a constant kind of always looking for the next role whilst you're delivering. So it's a lot of extra work. Whereas if you work for somebody, then they are looking for that for you because they have those teams in place. So it's not impossible, but just things to think about.
Thank you for that, Dawn-Louise. It's really fascinating listening to all your backgrounds. It just shows there are so many ways to pursue a career in digital marketing. I wondered whether we could spend a little time focusing on the apprenticeship route. As a digital marketing apprenticeship, it's a great way to start a career. In order to complete an apprenticeship, you need to be in an apprenticeship job, and you can find a list of apprenticeship jobs on gov.uk, and we'll get that link in the chat for you to have a look at. The jobs on gov.uk as well enable you to search by location, so you can search for an apprenticeship job that is near to your home. Apprenticeships are open to anyone aged 16 and over. So we do have school leavers from GCSE and A-levels completing apprenticeships, digital marketing apprenticeships. We have others that have switched careers later in life and going on to an apprenticeship. And we also have apprentices who have finished a university degrees. For example, they might have done a digital degree in English, or I've even seen degrees in arts and illustration going on to do a digital marketing qualification apprenticeship. But most importantly, you can complete an apprenticeship at any time in your career life. So here at Just IT, we offer apprenticeship training, and I thought it might be useful to give you a brief overview of what the training looks like. Typically, an apprenticeship takes 16 months to achieve. And if you haven't got a grade C or equivalent at GCSE English and Maths, you can complete this within the training itself. So it's not a barrier at all. By the way, if anyone's got any questions on entry to apprenticeships, please put them in the chat, because we've got an expert recruiter, Nina, on the call at the moment, so she can answer anything that's coming through on that front. So within the training, we have 3 certificates that we'd ask you to complete, and that's marketing, coding and analytics. And I'm now going to ask Gemma just to explain a little bit more in detail about that. And don't worry about the coding. It's not about becoming a C# developer or anything like that. This is coding from a digital marketing perspective. Over we go, Gemma.
Yeah, so the qualification, it says you can have up to 16 months on the qualification. I know it says on that last slide, it said 14 months. The minimum requirement of an apprentice is a year, 12 months and a week. So that's sort of the minimum requirement. Within them sort of 12 months, we have what we call different milestones, but essentially we have learning activities that are completed, webinars. You attend sessions with myself where I have another colleague, so the trainer will give information, and you'll learn a lot of different areas to pass exams. So we have marketing principles exam. This is learning about customer relationships, learning about social media. It's understanding from the initiation of a project to the completion. So where we've been talking about PPC, pay-per-click, it could be website work, it could be campaign. I was a campaign manager. So it'll be where you have a meeting with somebody that says, right, we have got this product coming in and we need to support that online. We need to promote it. So this will be months in advance before the products arrive. So your pathway will be to research. So you'll learn research skills with us. You need to understand the brand, understand what the message is. A massive one, and I'm sure Dawn-Louise and Alex will understand, is the target audience. To really understand your target audience will allow you to understand where they are. So it might be different demographics from age to, and I know my age says that I'm on Facebook, but I know there is people who are younger than me, i.e. my sisters, 10, 15 years younger than me, my siblings, so they're on Instagram more. Dependent on the different target audience will depend on which social media platform you utilize or which type of marketing you decide to use. So all these small little intricate details are what we teach on how to understand social media and grow in social media. Once you've passed tests, there's also the coding test. The coding, in my experience, I used to deliver social media apprenticeships and coding was never involved, and this was a long time ago. As soon as the government changed it and said, we're now going to do digital marketing, but we've put in coding as an element. So I said, this is me out, because I'm creative rather than technical. So the idea of building a website in my mind made me explode and say, no, this isn't going to happen. When I looked into it, the coding is just a real basic understanding, and we call it the front end. So there's a front end of a website and the back end of a website. And as you can understand, the front end is what we all see, how we see it, and understanding how that works. And it's a real basic understanding of the front end of a website. There's no language to be learned. Nobody learns code. You can. It's not the course to do, but we have got smaller bite-sized chunks of different online learning that you can do to learn coding. That's fine. But we have things like I mentioned before, WordPress. WordPress allows you to build a website nowadays without having to learn your own coding. So that's what's being built and what's being developed within technology to help support people, that they don't have to start writing code and understanding JavaScript and all kinds of things. So it's really nice. And then later on in the course, we learn Google Analytics, and this is a really nice finishing off, because understanding data is really important to every campaign, everything that you do. Understanding how it was engaged with. Is there a reason it was engaged with at a particular time? Is there you know, are you doing enough to make that user experience as it could be? So understanding data really allows you to really understand the campaign overall and say, right, and learning. One of my biggest tips for anybody in social media is learn from your last campaign. If it was a success, why? Can you do anything better? And like I said, with the competition, what are they doing? Do it better. But actually learning from this worked really well. We're going to do this next time. We're going to, you know, and developing your own skills and knowledge for your company, whoever it is you're representing. If it's an agency like Dawn-Louise, you might be, you know, working for an agency as part of your job, but you might, like Alex, be as part of a company. I was part of the NHS, but I worked in a company for different departments. So sometimes you can work within a big organization, but actually you've got the different departments that will say, oh, we're running a bit low on. And I always use Rolex watches in all my teaching, no idea why. So I've not got one, don't know what it's about, but I always say the Rolex watch in a jewelry shop isn't selling. So I'd sell the Rolex watch as part of my campaign, rather than you know, the wedding rings that are going absolutely fine at the moment. So you'd always need to speak to your sales department to see what's happening. There's no point in raising a campaign about something that's selling amazingly. So we teach all these kind of things, and you can see by this milestone journey in front of you that we have onboarding, we have marketing, we have all different webinars, and it's all done via building a portfolio to showcase yourself at the very end. So it's really nice to sort of, at the end of an apprenticeship, you have a portfolio, and it's called a summative portfolio. But this portfolio shows your skills. So you'll learn knowledge with myself or a trainer, and they will then say, go and apply that. You know, we've taught you how to research, how to do a real competitor analysis and analyze your market. Go and do that and bring it back to me, and let's see it. Let's put it in your portfolio to show how fantastic you are. And it's showing that wow, I call it wow work. I think it's because I've got young children. And that's another point that we've said about work-life balance. I know I've managed my children whilst working, but wow work. And I think anything that's wow, put it in, show it off. If you're ever going to a different job role, you can show this portfolio and say, look how fantastic I am. And that's what we teach. We teach that confidence. I hope that's answered what you needed.
Thank you, Gemma. Absolutely. And we're going to be picking up by speaking to Kerr about her apprenticeship experience. But before that, let's just get a little interactive. On your screens now, you should have the following question. Are you interested in exploring a career in digital marketing, whether it's through university, apprenticeships, or an entry-level role? So if you can get onto the chat there and just put your answer in for us, please. Right, we'll just give you a few seconds to answer that. This is just coming through. So we've got 63% so far coming through. Right, let's end the poll. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, we've got the results coming through at 63%. Yes, they are interested in looking at digital marketing as a career. Well, towards the end of the session, what we will be doing is sending out a survey so you can state individually the opportunities you were looking for and whether you found this webinar helpful. Now, I want to bring in Kerr to talk us through her experience as an apprentice. Kerr, what inspired you to become a digital marketing apprentice? Can you tell us about your journey?
Yes. So basically, before I even started as like a digital marketing apprentice, I did try go the university route of studying computer science and Japanese for 2 years. And I just felt like it wasn't for me. Just doing full-on studying wasn't for me. I wanted to have a balance of both the studying aspect, but also the actual work experience, going into an industry that I specifically want to go into rather than just doing computer science as a whole. So mainly the thing that inspired me to do a digital marketing apprentice was that whole balance of being able to work and study while getting key skills and earning money, but also specifically digital marketing, because as like some of the others have mentioned, like I have a huge fascination of what brings audiences to certain products in certain industries and certain websites and certain emails, like what attracts people to buy something, to do an action. And that was like my main motivation for digital marketing, so I could understand people and different demographics and different age and different genders, different interests, and see what kind of tools and skills I would need to use to optimize certain websites and certain emails to those audiences. But yeah, that was my main inspiration for wanting to do a digital marketing apprenticeship.
And Kira, I know your background is very much more on the technical front. So we've talked to Dawn-Louise and Alex about their inspiration being much more creative side. Can you just talk about your sort of technical focus as well?
Yes. So when I dropped out of university, I was doing retail and fast food jobs, but I wanted to get into the tech industry. So I dropped out of like working. And while I was unemployed, I was given some bootcamp courses that I can do. So the first one that I did was in Amazon Web Service through Generations UK. It was a course that was mainly focused on Amazon Web Service products, as well as learning how to code. So I learned some Linux coding and Python coding for like a few months. And this was right before lockdown happened. So I did a bit of coding skills in that. But I wasn't really keen on the back end side of coding, since the code in Linux and Python was more back end rather than front end coding. That's when I afterwards discovered about Code First Girls, which is a program course for young women who want to get into tech industries and want to learn how to code. They have normally free courses, and they're all free, by the way. I decided to do both the front end website development coding course, as well as the Python course again, because I really like Python, which was like a 8-week course with a bunch of other women, where they teach you the basics of how to do coding, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, as well as the other one where I was doing Python, where I was learning how to do calculations and solve problems through coding. And at the end of the course, they did like a whole group project where you had to create like a website, and you had to create like a game on animation through coding. And I felt like those were like key skills that I picked up, that I used to help me continue on with getting a digital marketing career and wanting to be creative, but also wanting that technical side. So yeah.
And have you got a couple of top tips that you'd recommend to somebody wanting to follow your footsteps in going into a digital marketing apprenticeship?
Yes, I got a few tips. First off, having a growth mindset. That's one of the first things that I was taught. Even if you feel like it's not working out for you, give it a try. Maybe you need to change something up. As I said before, I went from doing back-end computer science and back-end coding to trying to go for front-end coding, to finally finding a place in digital marketing because it had that nice balance. And if I gave up ages ago, I don't think I would be in the position that I was today. Like, I had such a growth mindset when I was trying to go for Just IT's apprenticeship, and I pushed forward to get my job, and I was able to get it because I showed that charisma. So yeah, I definitely recommend having a growth mindset. I also recommend it is good to have that bit of coding skills, even though like coding is a bit scary. It is something that's really good and important to have in this day and age, especially with everything moving on to the technical side of things. Even if your role doesn't have much coding or any coding at all, just knowing the basics, HTML, how to like size something, or how to change the font or color, it can be a really key skill to have on your CV, and it will impress people. That's how I got my current job right now, from them seeing that I had like previous coding skills, as well as my whole digital marketing apprenticeship. But yeah, those are my two main tips, I'd say, for someone who wants to go into this. And also volunteering as well. I did a lot of volunteering, and even when I was unemployed like a month ago. Yeah, I only just started this job a month ago. When I was unemployed a month ago, I was volunteering at my church for their website and for their social media, using the skills that I learned from my Just IT apprenticeship into that role. And yeah, it's nice to just keep that skill going, keep learning, keep training, keep getting new experiences.
I think that aligns so well with what I was saying about the work that I do on the triathlon website, and Gemma was saying also about the volunteering as well. So there's some really great tips for anyone out there that's looking to pursue that digital marketing apprenticeship pathway. And absolute congratulations to you for getting that next role with the ICAEW. I know we're just sort of moving to the final few minutes of the webinar today. So I just wanted to flick back to Dawn-Louise and Alex, and really briefly, can you tell me, how do you see the digital marketing sector developing in the next 5 years in terms of job opportunities for women? Any thoughts on that?
So as probably you're all aware, a lot of the high street, shops are closing, things like that. There's a much more increase in need for businesses to go online, and we are seeing that with getting new clients on board, wanting to invest more hours into their website and really develop that, because I think digital is where it's at, and it's where a lot of people purchase, a lot of people find products, services, that kind of thing. It's where it's at really. So I have no doubt that'll just be increasing. So it's great opportunity for people. I constantly see jobs cropping up and things like that, and it's definitely something that's going to grow, particularly because of shops closing. That does, I think lockdown had a part to play in it, COVID and all that, but there is so much, definitely a rise in it, and I can't see that going away, to be honest.
Thanks, Alex. And to you, Dawn-Louise?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think we don't know all the roles that are in digital marketing because it's changing so often. It seems like there's new roles coming up at least, once or twice a year. So whereas somebody might call themselves a marketing executive, 1 year they could evolve into a completely different role the next year, because the technologies are evolving, and the customer requirements are evolving. Thing with digital is if you stand still, you're almost moving backwards. So you have to keep learning. If you like change, if you like variety, if you like to be creative, then digital is definitely the place. You can specialize in technologies, you can specialize in conversations, you can specialize in the visual side. There's so many areas. You can take it from your school subjects all the way into many different areas, but it's always about wanting to learn and constantly learning. I think that's the key there.
And that's just such a great message to end the session on today. We hope all our viewers have found this really enlightening. As you can see, there's such a wealth of opportunities in digital marketing, some fantastic careers for those wishing to follow this particular path. I really want to convey my thanks to today's panellists, Dawn-Louise, Alex, Gemma and Kerr, for giving up their time today and providing some real life digital marketing examples, which hopefully has given the viewers some food for thought and may shape the direction of your careers. But most importantly, I want to thank everybody for actually attending, and I really hope the webinar has been of benefit. The recording will be sent out in due course, and if there's any further questions you have asked, please make contact with the team at Just IT by email. You can contact the panelists and myself on LinkedIn. We will do our really best to help you. And as I said, if there's anything further, there's a chat box here with some questions in and the Survey Monkey to complete on. Thank you very much for your time.